everybody. I am so happy to be back. As Caroline mentioned in my introduction, I am a student and teacher of yoga and positive psychology, and I'm also a member of the Jewish community. And lately, this past year, I've been exploring how to connect with Judaism in new, interesting ways by combining mindfulness techniques and positive psychology with Jewish traditions. And one of my favorite things about Judaism is how introspective it is and how there are so many beautiful traditions and holidays that we can explore. So each year we cycle through the calendar and the months and the holidays stay the same, but we as individuals change. And so we have the opportunity each year to approach these traditions through the lens of our current reality. And we can choose to approach our Jewish holidays and practices in new creative ways each time in order to find the most meaning in them. So I am excited to share with you today what I have been thinking about as I explored and rediscovered the story of Hanukkah, mining it for new meaning in the context of resilience, and hope that this approach will be meaningful for you all as well. So as we head into the dark, chilly months and are forced to navigate yet another holiday season in a pandemic, I think we can all use a bit of guidance and inspiration. So I'd like to start by giving you a quick introduction to a few Jewish concepts for those of you who are less familiar. Jewish months all have holidays and themes associated with them that tell the ancient stories, histories, and traditions of the Jewish people. The themes and holidays are also very connected to nature, seasons, and farming and harvest cycles. And we just transitioned from the Hebrew month of Kislev to the month of Tevet about a week ago. And the holiday of Hanukkah actually bridges these 2 months and usually takes place around the time of the winter solstice. And major themes for the month of Kislev and the holiday of Hanukkah include bringing light to dark moments, dreaming big, and rejoicing in miracles. And since the Jewish calendar is lunar and the Gregorian or secular calendar is solar, they don't always line up. And this year Hanukkah was particularly early and took place November 29th to December 6th. So it started right after Thanksgiving, and I know it definitely snuck up on me and came and went far too quickly. So even though Hanukkah is technically over, I'm hoping that you won't mind if we spend some more time exploring this holiday together today. And the concepts that I am introducing will help you to boost your resilience as you navigate the winter season. So what is resilience? Simply put, resilience is the ability to adapt well to stress, trauma, or loss. It isn't about never experiencing difficulties or feeling perfect all the time. It's more about learning, growing, and adapting as you face and move through challenges. And resilience has been a pretty popular topic because we were just discussing these past few years through the COVID-19 pandemic. We've collectively faced incredible fear and isolation and have been forced to live in a constant state of uncertainty. And as many of you know from attending these wonderful JCC webinars, positive psychology provides us with many different tools and concepts to help us become more resilient, some of which we're going to explore together today. And the Jewish people in particular are no stranger to this concept of resilience. We have faced incredible amounts of adversity and persecution for thousands of years. And even now, with the rise of anti-Semitism in the United States, our values and culture remain intact and strong. And I think that this perseverance is due to a belief system that promotes values such as community, family, kindness, charity, and gratitude, among others, all of which can boost resilience and be recognized and practiced through the holiday of Hanukkah. So Hanukkah may be the most mainstream Jewish holiday today. However, it actually wasn't widely celebrated until the 19th and 20th centuries. It reached popularity more recently through American Jews, partly due to its timing around Christmas, which led it to become associated a bit more with family gatherings and gift giving than perhaps its original historical significance. The story of Hanukkah takes place during the time of the Second Temple period of Judaism in the 2nd century BCE. And at this time, Jerusalem was under control of a Greek king who outlawed the celebration of Shabbat and other Jewish holidays, desecrated the Jewish temple, and tried to force all Jews to worship Greek religion and overall assimilate into the predominant Greek culture. For the story of Hanukkah, we tell how a small army of religious Jews, who became known as the Maccabees, rebelled against this persecution. They were able to regain control over the temple and build a new altar there. And according to the stories in our Talmud, a miracle occurred at this time. The Maccabees searched the temple for pure oil in order to light the menorah, which is a ritual candelabra, and only found enough oil to keep the menorah burning for one day. However, this small amount of oil ended up burning for 8 days, long enough for the new supply of oil to be found, and is why the holiday is celebrated for 8 days and nights. The word Hanukkah translates to or means dedication and signifies the rededication of the temple when it was reclaimed from occupation and the menorah was lit once again. So to me, this rededication is synonymous with resilience. It represents our ability as Jews to survive persecution and other challenges, keeping the flame of our religion and culture alive for ourselves and future generations. When we light the candles during the 8 days of Hanukkah, we are rededicating ourselves to our values and our community. So I'm going to pause here while we think about resilience and miracles and have you do a short journal exercise inspired by resilience researcher and expert Maria Serwa, who's our leading resilience friend at the Whole Being Institute. I'll reference her a few times. There's a miracle at the heart of the Hanukkah story, the miracle of light, that the oil lasted for 8 days. And there are a lot of different ways to think about or experience miracles. I like this definition that I have up on the screen. A miracle as a highly improbable or extraordinary event, development, or accomplishment that brings very welcome consequences. So miracles can be viewed through the lens of divine intervention, but as you all know, we must play an active role in creating our destiny. We have all faced obstacles and challenges in our lives that seemed extraordinary or impossible to overcome when we first faced them. So take a moment now to identify a difficult time in your past, an obstacle or a setback, an unexpected challenge that you overcame, a time when you were resilient in the face of a difficult situation, big or small. This is a time that you realized that you were stronger than you thought. So these are examples, I think, of personal miracles, situations when you made the seemingly impossible possible. So I'm going to pause here for 3 minutes and give you time to write about this experience. Capture how you felt when you overcame the challenge, maybe what strengths or resources you used, who supported you, what actions you took, and what beliefs or perspectives had the most impact during that time. And we'll have 3 minutes. About a minute left. All right, that was 3 minutes. Resilient experiences expand your worldview. They create a sense of increased opportunity or new possibilities, maybe even an increased appreciation for life or a greater sense of purpose and meaning. So, how can we make sure that we are resilient when we face new challenges? I'm going to introduce 8 strategies in honor of the 8 nights of Hanukkah that come from positive psychology and can be explored through the story and traditions of Hanukkah. Okay, so first up is awe. Awe is an exhilarating and inspiring emotion, a moment of being fully present as you're overcome by the beauty, magic, or vastness of an experience. Awe reminds us that we are part of something greater than ourselves and can fill us with gratitude and can even slow or pause our worries and fears. This sensation of feeling small provides a shift in perspective. It can humble us, make us feel more connected to the world, and improve our sense of purpose and meaning. If the legend of the Hanukkah miracle is true, I can imagine those original Maccabee soldiers were filled with a sense of awe as the candles burned for 8 days in their reclaimed temple. As practicing Jews, we can re-experience that awe as we light the candles during each night of the holiday and connect with a tradition that's been passed down for hundreds of generations, feeling humbled and inspired to be part of something so much bigger than ourselves. So this winter, as it becomes cold and dark, and if you're here in Portland, very wet, I encourage you to find ways to experience awe as often as you can. Go for a walk in nature, watch inspiring videos online, participate in religious or spiritual rituals, or even look up at the night sky. You can even pause and feel awe inspired by the simple or mundane. For example, if you'll play along with me now, just close your eyes for a moment and think about the incredible miracle that is your human body. Your body is made up of over 37.2 trillion cells. And take a deep breath in and exhale out. You take over 23,000 breaths each day. Consider everything that has to happen for you to move and speak and feel sensations. It's amazing. All right, you can open your eyes. And we'll move on to the second resilience strategy that I'm talking about today, which is, of course, gratitude. When Jewish people are celebrating Hanukkah, we light the candles of the menorah each night and recite a blessing of thanks and appreciation for the miracle that occurred for our ancestors during this season thousands of years ago. That is a really long time to appreciate something, especially considering all of the hardships experienced by the Jewish people since that time. A large part of Judaism involves reciting daily blessings, and I do think that this attitude of gratitude has contributed to our resilience as a people. As you think about the holiday this year, you may be tempted to focus on the disappointments of what is not possible. But I would like you instead to acknowledge and appreciate what is possible. So I would love it if each of you could right now think of one thing that you are grateful for this Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year's, winter season, and go ahead and type it into the chat. And of course, there are so many beautiful practices out there if you want to intentionally practice more gratitude this season, including creating a gratitude journal, writing gratitude letters, which could be really nice gifts, verbally expressing gratitude to others, or meditating daily on what you are thankful for. I'm seeing a few come into the chat here. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Thanks for sharing. For the recording, we're seeing lots of people talk about family and loved ones and the religious holidays, bringing others joy. That's beautiful. Thank you all for sharing. The first thing that comes to mind for many of us, and I'm seeing that here in the chat as well, when we think about Hanukkah and the winter holiday season, is gathering together with family and friends. Last year, with the COVID-19 vaccines not yet available, many of us were not able to gather with loved ones in person. And this year, I know there are going to be a lot of challenges as well. We have collectively been living in varying degrees of isolation through the pandemic, which has likely had a big impact on our overall well-being. I know for me, I am still working from home, so I am still spending significantly more time without social interactions than I ever did before the start of the pandemic. It can be a big transition to start socializing and going out more when we've gotten used to associating isolation with safety and security. But positive social networks and personal relationships are known to be vital for mental, physical, and emotional health, and can even boost our personal resilience. When you are faced with a new challenge or a difficult time, you're going to want to know that there are people in your life who will support you and help you to get through it. And being part of a loving and supportive community can add to your feelings of meaning, value, security, and love. So even if you're unable to travel or see family in person, or you're feeling really over being on Zoom, I'm going to encourage you to find ways to connect with friends and family over the next month, whether it's in person, virtually, or over the phone. Maybe even consider trying new types of connection that you haven't tried before. I mentioned gratitude letters earlier in the presentation. They can be a really wonderful way to feel connected to important people in your life and experience the benefits of gratitude at the same time. Another idea is to make a list of the people in your life that you've lost touch with since the start of the pandemic and consider choosing one or two to reach out to. Or maybe even find a volunteer activity through a community that you are a part of in order to volunteer your time to connect with people who are in desperate need of connection. You can try talking to your local JCC, synagogue, church, or school. Maybe they have ideas for you, or you could check out one of my favorite programs, which is the Meals on Wheels Friendly Chat Volunteer Program, to reach out to folks who are still feeling really isolated and lonely. I'll pause here for just a minute and give you a chance to think of at least one connection idea that you'd like to try sometime in the next month, something that resonates with you. And you can go ahead and just write it down, an idea or a few ideas in your notebook if you have one. And if you can, get specific about when you think you'll do it. And I'll pause for just about a minute. Okay, so if connection isn't the first thing that you think about when it comes to the winter holidays, I imagine that gift giving is. And I am sure you can guess, based on my introduction to the holiday, that Hanukkah has only as recently as the 1950s become associated with gifts, thanks to the Western commercialization of Christmas. There's a much older Jewish European tradition of giving gelt, gold coins or money during the holiday, but nothing to the scale that we see now. And I am most certainly not here to tell you not to give gifts this season, but I would like to invite you to expand your definition of gifts and the ways that you might give to your loved ones and communities. When discussing resilience, Maria Serwa stresses the importance of identifying and recognizing our individual strengths. When we know our strengths, we can leverage them during difficult times. And research shows that leading from our strengths can prevent burnout, helps us to achieve our goals, builds confidence, and increases overall happiness. And if you aren't sure what your strengths are, there are many wonderful tools out there to help you to identify them, including one of our favorites, I know at the Whole Being Institute, the VIA Character Strengths Assessment. That's VIA, a free strengths assessment online. So I'll ask you now to consider, what are your individual strengths and what gifts of service could you give to your community this time of year? In what ways are you a gift to your loved ones simply by being who you are? I love this Hanukkah dedication written by Rabbi Yael Levi, and I hope it inspires you to lead with your strengths as you show up for yourself and others this season. We honor the lights we each offer to the world, the talents and gifts we bring through the uniqueness of who we are. We seek ways to share our gifts and blessings with each other. We take note of what we love to do, what we do well, what comes forth from us with ease, and we honor these gifts, reminding ourselves that what comes easy to us is a blessing that is ours to share. During Hanukkah, we watch for opportunities to reach out and offer our gifts to one another. We also set an intention to receive each other's gifts and offerings with appreciation. So our fifth strategy is hope. There are so many definitions of hope out there, but from a positive psychology lens, hope is an active state of mind. It can be a belief that bad events will be temporary, a belief that you have a pathway to improve your life, a belief that a better, different future is possible. Dan Tomasulo, author of Learned Hopefulness, discusses in his book how high hope people are resilient, resourceful, and have a high degree of agency and the energy and motivation to bring about change. And the good news is that hope is something that you can learn and practice. You all have the ability to cultivate more hope in your life. I love this quote that I have up on the screen from Jewish yogi Jenny Zadaka that demonstrates the active nature of hope. In Hanukkah's story, the miracle was not just that they found a jug of oil to light the menorah, it was that they actually believed they would find something and they searched for it. Maria Serwa talks about hope and resilience through grounded optimism, the ability to face reality as it is and look for a path to a brighter future. Another exercise of Maria's that I love is to actively look for that and. So let's take a moment to give it a try. Get out your pen and paper again, and without overthinking it, try to come up with one grounded optimism and statement about this holiday season. Something that grounds you in your true reality and demonstrates your agency and hopefulness. So for example, one for me could be, I have been feeling isolated and lonely working from home, and I am looking forward to the opportunities I have this season to visit family and friends. And I'll pause for a minute here. Another way to increase your resilience is through setting clear goals and intentions for yourself. I'd like to revisit the idea that I introduced earlier in the presentation, that the word Hanukkah means dedication. Resilience is about facing challenges and setbacks and coming out stronger on the other side, about finding the strength and perseverance to begin again. So as you face another holiday season in a not yet quite over pandemic, what is it that you would like to dedicate yourself to? If you were to lean into that grounded optimism and active hope and take into account everything we've discussed so far about resiliency, is there a simple goal or intention you might want to set for yourself for the next few weeks? I'm going to give you a few minutes here to write in your journal. And if this isn't enough time for you to think of a goal or intention, you may just want to jot down these prompts and a few of your thoughts that you can revisit later. So I have up on the screen some questions. What is important to me right now? What brings light into my life? What small actions can I take now to kindle that light? Or another Whole Being Institute favorite, what can I do that would move me just 2% closer to living this intention? And I'll pause again here for a few minutes. Have about another 30 seconds. All right. As you think about these ways that you'd like to show up for yourself, for friends and family, there might be a sneaky voice inside your head telling you that you aren't enough or haven't been doing enough. And as you reach towards these goals or intentions, you might stumble or not accomplish quite what you thought you would. And that is okay. A really important part of resilience is to know that mistakes and missteps are part of being human, that things don't always go as planned, and how we treat ourselves during difficult times really matters. And these have been difficult times. Cultivating self-compassion is an opportunity to stop judging and evaluating yourself and to simply accept yourself with an open heart, to treat yourself with the same kindness, caring, and compassion that I know you would to a friend. And if you're interested in learning more about self-compassion, I highly recommend checking out one of Kristen Neff's books. I have the picture of her book, Self-Compassion, on the screen. She has so many suggestions for self-compassion exercises and practices on her website and in her book. One of my favorites that I have personally adapted this year, it's come in very useful, is to give myself little self-compassion breaks when I'm struggling, feeling overwhelmed, or notice my inner self-critic speaking up. So to take a self-compassion break, just find a quiet, private place to acknowledge your pain or suffering and provide yourself with comfort by speaking kindly and gently to yourself and giving yourself a little hug or massage. I know it can feel a little silly or awkward to talk to yourself or to give yourself physical comfort, but it really works. And this is something that you can do often during the holidays if you feel overwhelmed, if you've just had a difficult conversation, or you simply need a little extra love and support. And last, but absolutely not least, in our list of mindfulness or resilience strategies today is mindfulness. There are many different ways to describe mindfulness, and this is a definition up on the screen that is used sometimes by the Whole Being Institute. And that is mindfulness is the self-regulation of attention with an orientation of curiosity, openness, and acceptance. Mindfulness is about being present in the moment. And really, it's a precursor to all of the resiliency strategies that I discussed today. You won't likely experience awe without being present and mindful when you see that sunrise or light your Hanukkah candles. A skill in mindfulness will allow you to notice what you're grateful for, be fully engaged when you connect with others, and is a fundamental component of self-compassion. Eastern spiritual practices may be what come to mind when you think about mindfulness. However, Judaism is full of meaningful mindfulness practices as well. Blessings before and after meals, morning gratitude prayers, and Shabbat are all practices in slowing down and mindfully savoring the present. And the easiest way to improve your mindfulness skill is to find time to practice. And a common way that people do this is to meditate which can be as simple as sitting and noticing your breath. Another way might be to pick one activity each day to practice being mindful during, such as while brushing your teeth, eating breakfast, or going on your afternoon walk. So think, are there any holiday activities or gatherings coming up in which you would love to practice being fully present? And to end this presentation today, I am going to give you all the gift of a brief mindfulness practice. So go ahead and put aside your notebook and pen, anything else that you've been working with. And I'm going to invite you to settle down comfortably into your chair. You can place both of your feet on the ground. And when you feel settled and ready, you can close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, or lower your gaze. And I'm going to lead you through a brief meditation. Feel your feet planted firmly on the ground, your body supported by your chair, and the crown of your head reaching toward the sky, elongating your spine. And begin to bring your attention inward, and begin to notice the sensation of your breath as air moves in and out through your nose. Notice your stomach and ribs expand as you inhale and contract as you exhale. And stay with your breath for a few moments. Recall now your personal miracle, your unique story of resilience that you wrote down earlier in this presentation. A time that you persevered through a challenge or difficult situation and came out stronger on the other side. Notice how you feel when you remember this experience. What emotions or sensations arise in your body? Know that this strength is always a part of you, and that you have the ability to face whatever new challenges may be ahead. If you feel lost or overwhelmed, you can always access the power of your own resilience by experiencing a moment of awe, appreciating the beauty and love in your life, connecting with loved ones, accessing your personal strengths, cultivating hope, creating clear, simple intentions, or simply by pausing to breathe and be present in the moment, like you are doing right now. If your mind has wandered, come back again to the sensation of your breath. Place your hands now on your heart and take a moment to feel gratitude and appreciation for anything that is bringing you happiness, light, and joy this season, whether that be family, friends, your health, your job, or your own strength and ability to persevere. Now open your palms out in front of you and send some of that love to someone in your life who may need a little extra support or encouragement right now. You can release your hands to your lap. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes and come back to the Zoom. I have on the screen an overview of the 8 resiliency strategies that I talked about today. And I hope that at least a few of them resonated with you and that you're leaving this presentation with a few notes and ideas for how you plan to boost your resilience over the next few weeks. Thank you all so much for being here today, and the JCC for inviting me back and listening to my presentation. And for those of you who celebrate Hanukkah, I hope that this was an opportunity to extend your celebration and appreciation for the holiday. And for everyone, I hope that you are inspired to shine your own light and illuminate the world with your brilliance as you live resiliently through this dark season.